How's it going? I'm Dustin. Welcome to Fantasy Smack Talk. This is the Week 8 Waiver Wire show. We got plenty of people to talk about. Let's start with the mustads, and we got a running back for you, Brandon Jackson. We've talked about him a lot. Still only owned in 70% of leagues. This guy's just getting better and better every week. Time to pick this guy up. They love him out of the backfield and screens, and he's going to get a majority of the carries on a great offense. Get this guy on your team if he's available. Next, got another running back for you in Donald Brown. You know, it's looking like he's probably going to be back for Week 8. Not so sure about Adai. It looks like Adai is going to miss at least a week or two. You know, there's a chance Brown won't be ready, which means Mike Hart would be the guy to own. But it looks like Brown will be ready, and it's going to be the pickup for this week. Could be a nice pickup and play for you. Next, we got a couple of receivers for you, and we'll start with Kenny Britt. I mean, wow. This guy should get into bar fights more often. Only on 65% of leagues. Here's the deal with Britt. If you can pick him up or if you already have him, awesome. But we say trade him. His value will never be higher. Tennessee's still going to rely heavily on Chris Johnson. You know, they don't necessarily look first to pass. You know, if you look at Kenny Britt's game log, not that many big blow-up games as far as yards go. But we do like Kenny Britt's upside. We don't want to take anything away from what he did. Next, Steve Johnson. I absolutely love this guy. You know, Buffalo's starting to figure things out there. He's only owned in 35% of leagues. Very impressive game log. You need to check it out if you haven't seen it. This guy could be the real deal. All right, let's talk about some guys in deeper leagues, and we'll stick with Buffalo receivers, and that's Lee Evans. 3 touchdowns last week. You know, I do put Steve Johnson slightly above Evans just because Johnson's been very consistent, but Evans is going to have a lot of big games, you know, as Buffalo continues to work things out there. Moving on to Von Best, only owned in 45% of leagues. I was shocked to see that that's all the leagues he's owned in. This guy's been pretty consistent this year. He's a PPR stud, and he's actually finding the end zone. He has a touchdown in each of his last 3 games. We like this guy moving forward. Go ahead and pick him up. Next, Jordan Shipley, only owned in 5% of leagues. Now, the Bengals were playing from behind almost the whole game, so keep that in mind when looking at Shipley's stats. But the Bengals have been playing from behind a lot this year, so he could continue to have some big games. Moving on, very interesting player, David Geddes out with Carolina. You know, they've been searching forever for that number 2 receiver to start next to Steve Smith. And it looks like this could be the guy. This guy is huge, 6'3", 215. He's a rookie. You know, you got to keep that in mind that he is a rookie, but we do think he has a ton of upside. He could be here to stay. Next, we got both Mike Williams, the guy out in Seattle and out in Tampa Bay. Both these guys still available in a lot of leagues. We think it's okay to pick these guys up with confidence. It's looking like they're going to have a big upside from here on out. All right, let's talk about some quarterbacks, and we start with Ryan Fitzpatrick. You know, he's only owned in about 10% of leagues. He's started 4 games so far. He already has 11 touchdowns. This is not the same quarterback that started for the Bengals a couple years ago. This guy looks completely different. You know, he looks very comfortable and confident out there. You know, I don't think I'd use him much more for a bye week fill-in in 1 quarterback leagues, but 2 quarterback leagues, I think it's time to pick this guy up. Same with Matt Castle, only on 40% of leagues. This guy's starting to get things going out there. He could have a decent second half. And we do have some news out of Monday Night Football. John Kitna is the new starting quarterback for the Cowboys. Romo, broken collarbone. That's a big injury. We're talking at least a month, probably more. You know, Kitna going up against Jacksonville next week could be a nice pickup and play if you got bye week issues. All right, got a defense for you, and Dallas is D. They're going up against Jacksonville, like I just said, only on 50% of leagues. I like Dallas as a pickup and play for a defense. And I got 1 running back for you to look at in deeper leagues, and that's Darren Sproles. If you have bye week issues in a PPR league, he has 17 catches in his last 3 games. He's going to mix in a couple of carries, but you got to love that many catches coming out of the backfield. Could be a decent pickup and play if you got bye week issues. So that's it for this week's show. As always, the full list will be up on the site later this week. And getting those forms, I'm Dustin. Brent and I will be back later this week.